Alright, so it's probably not going to come as any kind of a shock when I tell you guys that I have a vastly differing opinion on Aquaman 2, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, than pretty much everybody else that I have spoken with. And that's what's great about this fellowship is we can all have our own opinions and we can see the same things, the same trailers, the same promotional things, and we can take different things out of it, which is great. I want to love this movie. The potential for a great movie is in here. We're going to get into it and really kind of just break it down. I have seen this trailer already. I saw it in theaters actually with X-Ray Girl and Mrs. Nerdrotic when they took me to the Hunger Games ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I will be perfectly honest, as someone who's never read the books, doesn't watch the films. I mean, I've seen the clips and the bits and pieces, and of course the GIFs, but I've never actually watched them. Battle Royale exists, so like, why would you? But I was lost that entire film. The Aquaman trailer was by far the highlight of that film for me. But without any further ado, we're gonna get into the trailer and see what we think.
Hi, baby boy. Talking to the
So
fishies.
we have
You and me,
the
son,
good dad
are
trope.
different.
He's talking to his
Special.
son. He's trying to raise him
We're
right,
connected to the land and
which
the
is
sea.
so different from pretty much any superhero film we've seen in the past decade, dang near. About the past decade, yeah. I mean, so that is a welcomed change and a trope that we don't get enough, for sure. So he's enjoying being a dad, right? Oh, look at the cute baby. That baby was cute. He was so cute.
I'm gonna kill Aquaman.
Okay, so Manta is back, and he's pissed. Rightly so. And, yeah. I mean, he wants revenge. This is as clear-cut as it gets. This is a very obvious villain motivation. Simple, to the point. If they would just focus on this, I think we would be in really good hands, because this film went through several reshoots, and I'm worried because this trailer is really well put together. You can pull the plot of the film out of the trailer, which says a lot about the trailer. It's what you're supposed to be able to do with the trailer. You're supposed to have a pretty good understanding of what you are walking into. You couldn't say that about The Flash. Oh my gosh, that was such a convoluted mess. No amount of Michael Keaton Batman was going to save The Flash. It just was not possible. And frankly, what Disney Marvel has been putting out the past 5 years has not been anything fantastic. Honestly, like, Infinity War was probably the last good movie they put out. I was underwhelmed with Endgame. I know that that's a controversial take, but really, yes, the payoffs were there, and of course, Tony Stark sacrificing himself and everything, but really, Disney Marvel has not been able to live up to the hype at all, whatsoever. This trailer, if the movie is even 45% as well put together as this trailer, I will be happy. If this is a B-tier film, I will be ecstatic. I really want to love this movie. I really do. I think there is a lot of potential for great storytelling here.
Even if I have to make a deal with the devil to do it.
Okay, so
Free me from my prison.
you get some Lord of the Rings vibes there. Okay, can I just say, I think the CGI in this film is balanced really well with practical effects. It is certainly not as overused or over-relied on as definitely not the Marvels that just came out, but even the Flash. And the monsters look fantastic. This shot, you can't really see like their faces or anything like that, but In other trailers, you've been able to see the monsters and they look fantastic, which, I mean, very Lovecraftian type monsters in a lot of cases, which you love to see. So they're really having there's a lot of good that is being seen with special effects in this trailer, which makes me happy.
My power will be yours.
So,
The key to this prison is the royal bloodline itself.
okay. So the key to the prison is the bloodline itself. Here is a trope that we've not seen done well in a while. And it is, it's the chosen one, essentially. We have a bloodline that is the key to either salvation or damnation. So it's giving very OG Willow vibes, which I love. We've got a Laura Dannon type situations going on, so the stakes are already pretty high. Now, Manta obviously wants to murder Aquaman's family, burn his kingdom to the ground, make Aquaman suffer, and go through all of this. Those stakes are high enough, but apparently we had to get more content. That wasn't good enough for Warner Brothers, so we had to throw in, the world coming to an end if Aquaman doesn't save anything. Which, to be fair, if you have a psycho running the seas, it doesn't usually end well for anybody. I mean, you can just ask the ancient Greeks with Poseidon. Didn't really go in their favor either. But I digress. So,
He needs us. We're the end of the bloodline.
No, we're not.
no, we're not. Okay, so, again, I really think his suit looks better in this one by a long shot.
Yeah!
So, we get some CGI going on.
Manta took Junior.
So now we've got Aquaman, who for 4 years has been king, but he's not really stepped into that role. He's looked at it as a job, not a birthright, and he's still grappling with the life he thought he was going to have and the life that he really did want for himself, and now his duty and the expectation of an entire world that needs him to be there and to run the kingdom and prevent, a calamity or another war with the land dwellers. And so there's a lot riding on this, and there's so much potential. And we saw his brother, so we know his brother, and from previous trailers we know that he gets his brother out of prison because he needs his brother's help. That adds a whole other dynamic to this, because is his brother going to betray him? Are they going to be able to reconcile? Is the brother just going to pretend to reconcile until he can stab his brother in the back? But also he's got a nephew that he's never met, and that nephew's life is being threatened. And so is Manta going to offer him the opportunity to crush his brother and get revenge for the 4 years that he spent in prison and the life that he stole, quote unquote, stole from him, by killing his nephew? Or is he going to, sacrifice himself for his nephew and try to save him? And if we go that route, then what's that going to do to Aquaman? Because obviously, it's his son and it's his brother, and so he wants to protect his son, but if it's his brother who ultimately saves his son and sacrifices himself in the process of doing so, how is that going to alter him as a king and as a father, as a son? How is he going to look at his mom and be able to really reconcile with himself with that? And how is that going to affect his character arc? So we have a character who, if this is written well and if it's done correctly and if it's handled with respect, can have a massive impact on the development of pretty much every character in this story, but also impact the ending of this story in ways that no other character would be able to do. So there is a great potential here for character-driven storytelling to happen that really pushes the plot forward and can even resolve the plot at the end, depending on how they handle this. So I really hope that they handle this well, because Lord have mercy, Lord knows we really want a good film. I want this film to be good. I really do. So,
He must be stopped.
okay, so he's got to be stopped. See what I'm saying? Like,
I'm coming for you.
he's coming. Oh, yes! See, so like, there we see a bit of the rage. We're not really sure what happened. Obviously, he just got his butt kicked. And, you know, however it is, like, he's chasing down his son. Amber Heard is not present for very long in any of these trailers. I don't even think she shows up in this one. But she's got to be in the film for at least 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, this is her husband and her son. She's not going to just vanish unless... Because if she got imprisoned, someone would notice. And if she ran off, somebody would notice. So she has to be in it somewhat. Warner Brothers made a huge mistake by not recasting her. They really, truly did. But I think, especially because Momoa, if rumors are to be believed, because Momoa really gave her a hard time and didn't really buy into her false narrative, and the fact that he took Depp's side, I think he's probably going to get a lot of support from both of those fan bases. Whether or not that's going to help this movie make money, I can't say yet. Maybe those fan bases won't turn out at all. But the Depp fan base is incredibly loyal, so it wouldn't shock me if they were like, yeah, we're going to go support him because he supported our boy. It really wouldn't shock me. But, you know, right there we got some grit going on. Aquaman is clearly been on the losing end of some kind of fight, and he's threatening whoever it is that has harmed or endangered his family. So, I mean, we've got our hero standing up to our villain, and the villain just wants to ultimately crush the mind, body, soul, and spirit of our hero. So, this is... See what I mean? The monsters just look great. Aquaman's last stand. See, he wants to destroy everything he holds dear. Oh, look at that shot! Like, I don't know who was in charge of post or who was in charge of lighting or cinematography, but there have been shots in this trailer and in other trailers that are just beautiful. And they really, I know a lot of it is blue screen and green screen, but they really did nail several of these shots. It doesn't look like them. It doesn't look super cheesy. It doesn't look like they cheaped out on the CGI. I mean, really, I was so happy with the look of a lot of these monsters. Like I said, they're very Lovecrafty in some of them. So it's really just wonderful to kind of see that transformation, especially with some of the bull honky we've had the past few years.
You want blood? Come get it!
See? Look at that.
Aquaman.
So we got a shot of, you know, his seahorse there, which looked very majestic. Honestly, I never thought I'd say that about a seahorse. But that monster there at the end, like, they're looking really good. It gives Dune a run for its money in some cases. So I was incredibly happy to see that. But this film has a few things going for it for me. One, we have Jason Momoa, who is doing the good dad trope, and he's motivated to try and protect and rescue his son, his family, which is something that we have not had for a long time in general. So we're to get that in a superhero film, and it looks like it's going to be a Jason Momoa superhero film, and he's not going to be led by his nose by 4 other women. He's not going to play the 4th or 5th lead. He's actually going to get to be Aquaman, and this is going to be a story about Aquaman, which is great to see. So we're going to get that good dad trope, which we are desperately lacking in Hollywood of late. We're also going to get to see sort of that character arc of his, where he's now no longer treating it as just a job. He's sort of stepping into the role of king and his expectation for himself and what he can do and for his people is much higher, and he's dedicating more of himself to this role so that he can be a role model for his son, and figuring out that, hey, I can actually do this. I just have to find my way of doing it and lead the people as best I can. We've got the brother dynamic going on, which is going to be very interesting if it's handled with respect and care. I think that could be one of the most interesting arcs in the entire story, period. We have a clear-cut villain who literally said he's willing to sell his soul to get what he wants. And we all know how those deals go. It never works out for the guy in the end, but so even if he defeats Aquaman, he's still going to lose. And we know that, but the villain doesn't care. The villain wants to destroy whom he believes is responsible for his misery. That's how a villain works. Like, they are willing to sell their soul to get what they want. Clear-cut bad guy. I'm so happy to see it. I don't think the stakes of the world going to have a global meltdown was necessary. I think the motivation is already there from his father being injured. It looks like he's, on death's doorstep. His mom being in danger. His half-brother. His child has been kidnapped. I don't know where his wife is and I don't care, but, him as a husband is obviously going to care. So he has those things going for him. He also does care about the people of Atlantis and the creatures in the ocean, the other kingdoms. He's trying his best, but now I think his character development is going to be very interesting as he goes along and he realizes exactly what this all means to him, and to find out that he does actually care about these people and about this world, and it's not just a job. And then, one of my favorite tropes of all time, it's given OG Willow vibes for like Elora Danan. It just makes me really happy, is the bloodline that can either bring salvation or damnation, literally. And the fact that his innocent child is put at risk solely because of the blood in his veins. And so, like, why would you try to take one of these two men when the end of the bloodline is an infant who's been left with his elderly grandfather that you can just snatch and take and isn't going to be able to really fight you? You know what I mean? Like, that trope can be done poorly. We've seen it done poorly, but from the looks of it, the potential for it to be a very good subplot, or I guess one of the driving forces of the main plot, is there. And like I said before, is Uncle going to come to the rescue? Is Uncle going to be tempted to kill his nephew? Like, how is this gonna play out? What is that going to do for our characters? How is it going to help them develop? Especially Aquaman, if he's going to have to make that choice between his brother and his son, or if he's going to watch his brother sacrifice himself to try and rescue his son, how is that going to affect him? So there is a lot that can go on here. Warner Brothers, literally, just please do not snap defeat out of the jaws of victory. Like, you didn't have to do a lot. I know I'm worried because I know The Flash went through a ton of reshoots. I know Aquaman has gone through a ton of reshoots. I know a lot of stuff got cut. I know a lot of stuff got added in post. I'm concerned, but I'm hopeful because, especially, like I said, if the film is even 45% as well put together as this trailer, I will be ecstatic. I don't even need an S tier film. If this is a B tier film, I will be so happy. I already have my tickets. It comes out December 20th. If it's good, I will go to it multiple times. I will take my kiddos. They loved the first one. I will happily take them to the second one. I so badly want this film to be good. I really do. And the fact that it's coming out around Christmas time, there is the potential that that is going to help it. So there is all of these things working in its favor. But it's Warner Brothers. So, I mean, like, they they have a tendency to kill the golden goose. Like, decapitate it, stuff it, and put it in the oven, and then roast the ever-loving bejesus out of it until it's burnt to a crisp. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I can't say that I have a lot of faith, but, again, the trailers and the fact that you're able to actually pull the plot of the film out of the trailers, which is something that we've not been able to do with any superhero film in a while, that is promising. Now they just have to deliver. So that is the latest trailer for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. It comes out December 20th. Let me know what you guys think. I'm definitely going to go see it. Hopefully you guys want to go see it. I look forward to seeing what you have to say in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by. Do all of the like, sub, comment things, share, what have you. You know what to do. I appreciate every single one of you. Much love, God bless, and Godspeed.